Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every life when problems seem too heavy to bear, when personal struggles tighten like a storm cloud and threaten to block out all hope. But I want to tell you something today. No matter how impossible your situation may seem, no matter how deep the valley or how fierce the storm, there is a power within you greater than any problem you face. You were not born to be defeated by life's difficulties. You were born with a God, given ability to rise above them, to solve them, to transform them into stepping stones toward your greatest strength. The truth is, most people don't realize how much strength they already possess. They don't know that inside their heart, within their spirit, lies a solution factory waiting to be ignited by faith. They look at their troubles and say, "I can't," when deep down their soul is whispering, "With God's help, I can." The power to solve your personal problems doesn't lie somewhere out there in the world. It lies within you right now, waiting for your belief, your action, and your unwavering trust in a higher power to bring it forth. Today, I invite you to open your heart to the idea that your problems are not permanent. They are not your identity. They are challenges that can be overcome with the right mindset, the right faith, and the refusal to quit. No matter how long the struggle has lasted, the turning point can come in a moment when you decide to believe that there is a way and that you have the power to find it. There is something incredibly powerful about believing, deep in your soul, that every problem has a solution. Life will bring trials. It will place roadblocks in your path. It will test your patience, your strength, your will to go on. But never let the size of your problem convince you that it is permanent or impossible. Problems are not walls that confine you. They are doors, and every door has a key. You may not see the key right away. You may not even know where to begin searching. But if you keep faith alive in your heart, if you trust that God has not brought you this far to leave you, then the solution will begin to reveal itself, step by step. Sometimes the solution is not revealed all at once, and that's where people often lose heart. They look for a quick fix, an immediate answer, and when it doesn't come, they declare defeat. But the truth is, problems are not always meant to vanish instantly. They are often the very tools that shape us, refine us, and draw out the inner strength we never knew we had. That strength grows when we persist, when we choose to believe that a way exists even when we can't yet see it. You must tell yourself again and again, "This is not too big for me to handle. This is not too difficult for God to solve." Somewhere, somehow, a solution exists. That thought alone, that firm, unwavering belief, is often the spark that awakens your mind, stirs your creativity, and energizes your spirit. You begin to notice things you didn't notice before. Ideas begin to rise. Guidance seems to appear when you least expect it. That is no coincidence. That is the power of belief in action. That is the divine law of hope unlocking doors that fear had shut. Think of the many people who faced overwhelming odds and somehow came through. They were not stronger, luckier, or more gifted than you. They simply refused to believe that their problem was greater than their power to overcome it. They kept going, step by step, and as they did, they grew stronger. As they believed, they found courage. As they persisted, they found answers, and you can too. Don't let your problem define your future. Don't let temporary defeat convince you that you are stuck. Problems are like passing storms. They may shake you, they may soak you, but they will not destroy you. And once the storm passes, the sky becomes clear, and you realize that you have not only survived, but you have grown. You are more resilient, more wise, more prepared for the road ahead. So no matter what you're facing, whether it's a broken relationship, a financial crisis, a health battle, or emotional pain, hold tight to the truth that there is a solution. Maybe you don't see it today. Maybe it takes time, effort, prayer, and patience, but it exists, and your belief in that truth is what keeps you moving, keeps you growing, and keeps you open to divine help. Believe that every problem has a solution, and when you do, you shift from victim to victor, from confused to confident, from afraid to faithful. Keep walking, keep praying, keep believing. The answer is not behind you, it's ahead. And with every step you take in faith, you get closer to it. There is a power within you that is greater than any force outside of you. It is not something you have to earn or search far and wide to find. It has been with you since the beginning. It is the quiet, steady strength that comes from knowing that you are never alone, that God's presence is with you, guiding you, supporting you, and lifting you even when you feel like you can't go on. You may have moments when you feel small in the face of your problems, when the burden feels too heavy or the way forward too uncertain. But that's when you must remind yourself of a deeper truth. You were never meant to carry life's weight on your own. You were created with divine strength flowing through you, and when you tap into that power, you become capable of facing anything. This inner power is not loud or boastful. It does not shout or demand attention. Often, it speaks in whispers, in the quiet confidence that rises when you say a prayer, in the calm that follows a moment of surrender, in the peace that comes when you decide to trust instead of fear. That power is the presence of God working in you and through you. It is the invisible force that steadies your hands, clears your mind, and brings comfort to your heart when the world feels overwhelming. Too many people go through life unaware of this divine resource within them. They struggle under the weight of fear, doubt, and confusion, thinking they have to figure everything out on their own. But the moment you turn inward, the moment you take time to be still and pray, not with desperation, but with faith, you begin to feel it. You begin to sense that you are not facing life alone. Something greater than you is at work on your behalf. That something is God, and He is not far away. He is right here, right now, within you, ready to give you wisdom, strength, and clarity when you need it most. It doesn't mean the problem disappears instantly. It means you no longer face it with fear. You approach it with faith, and faith changes everything. Faith doesn't just move mountains. It moves you. It moves you out of worry and into peace, out of helplessness and into hope, out of confusion and into divine direction. When you tap into that inner power, you stop saying, "I can't," and you start saying with God, "I can." You stop focusing on what's going wrong and start believing in what's possible. That belief is powerful. It creates energy, it draws solutions, it opens doors, and it allows you to walk through the toughest seasons of life without being broken by them. You may bend, but you will not break. You may stumble, but you will not fall. Because the power within you, the power of God, is holding you steady. So whatever you're going through today, don't let fear take the lead. Don't let doubt steal your peace. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and pray with confidence. Say to yourself, God is with me, His strength is in me, I have everything I need. Then walk forward, not in your own limited strength, but in the limitless power of the one who created you. That is how battles are won. That is how peace is found. That is how problems are solved. Not by your might, but by the power within you that never fails. Fear is one of the greatest enemies of progress. It creeps in silently and grips the heart, paralyzing action and clouding judgment. When a personal problem arises, whether it's a crisis in your family, your health, your finances, or your mind, fear is often the first response. It whispers that the situation is hopeless, that you're not strong enough, that nothing will ever change. It creates a fog that makes the future seem dark and the present feel unbearable. But there is a powerful force that dissolves fear and brings light into even the darkest corners of life, and that force is faith. Faith does not ignore the problem, but it changes how you face it. It replaces panic with peace, anxiety with assurance, and helplessness with strength. Faith tells you that the situation may be hard, but it is not impossible. It reminds you that God is bigger than any problem you face, and that He is already at work, even if you can't see the full picture yet. When you face a problem through the lens of fear, your energy is drained, your thinking becomes clouded, and your emotions spiral. Fear keeps you trapped in what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. But when you face a problem with faith, you awaken a different energy, a calm, focused, and determined spirit that allows you to think clearly, act wisely, and move forward with courage. Faith doesn't promise that there won't be challenges. It promises that you won't walk through them alone. Faith lifts your eyes above the problem and helps you see the solution that God is guiding you toward, even if it's not yet visible. There is something deeply powerful about a calm and confident spirit in the face of trouble. It doesn't come from pretending everything is fine. It comes from a deep inner knowing that no matter what happens, you are anchored in something greater than the storm. You may not have all the answers, but you know the one who does. You may not feel strong, but you are connected to a power that never fails. That is what faith is. It is not a feeling, it is a choice. A decision to trust even when things don't make sense. A decision to move forward even if it's just one small step. A decision to keep your spirit lifted and your eyes fixed on God, not the problem. There are countless people who have overcome overwhelming challenges not because they had more resources or intelligence, but because they had faith. They refused to let fear dictate their response. They prayed, they believed, and they acted. And because they faced their problems with faith instead of fear, they discovered strength they didn't know they had. You have that same potential within you. You are capable of facing whatever is in front of you, not with trembling, but with trust. Not with worry, but with wisdom. Not with dread, but with divine courage. So if you are standing before a personal problem today, take a moment to breathe deeply. Silence the voice of fear. Then turn your thoughts toward faith. Speak words of belief, not defeat. Pray with confidence, not desperation. Say to yourself, I will face this with calm courage. I will not be shaken. I trust that God is guiding me. The answer is coming. I will keep moving forward. And as you do, something will begin to shift. The problem won't control you anymore. You will rise above it, walk through it, and come out stronger. Because when you face your problems with faith, not fear, you step into the miraculous power of victory. The way you think shapes the way you live. When a problem enters your life, the natural reaction is often to feel overwhelmed or to focus on what's going wrong. But if you can shift your mindset, if you can train your thoughts to expect answers instead of anticipating failure, you begin to unlock a power that can transform even the most difficult situations. Positive thinking is not wishful thinking. It is not ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It is the deliberate, disciplined act of choosing hope, believing that there is a way forward, and opening your mind to creative solutions that fear and negativity can never reveal. When you adopt a positive mindset, you create space in your mind for new ideas to emerge. You start to ask better questions. You begin to imagine possibilities that once seemed hidden. Negativity narrows your vision. It closes doors and limits your options, but positivity widens your perspective. It allows you to see beyond the problem and into the solution. Even science tells us that when your brain is flooded with stress or fear, your creativity shuts down. But when you are calm, hopeful, and expectant, your mind opens up and begins to function at a higher level. You start noticing things you didn't notice before. A passing thought becomes an answer. A conversation brings new direction. A simple idea becomes a breakthrough. That's why it's so important to develop the habit of feeding your mind with uplifting thoughts, especially during hard times. Speak words that build your confidence. Fill your environment with encouragement. Read inspiring messages. Listen to voices that fill you with faith, and surround yourself with people who remind you of what's possible. The world may be filled with negativity, but you can choose what you allow into your mind. Protect your thoughts like a garden. Pull out the weeds of doubt and plant seeds of hope every single day. Your thoughts have creative power. What you dwell on grows. If you continually think there's no way out of this, you'll stay stuck. But if you begin to say, there must be a way, and I believe I'll find it, then something begins to shift. Your words guide your mind, and your mind guides your actions. You begin to take steps, even small ones, and those steps lead you toward the solution. Many people wait for the answer to appear before they believe, but those who experience miracles believe first, and then the answer comes. Creativity is not something reserved for artists or inventors. Every human being has creative potential because every human being is made in the image of a creative God. You have within you the ability to see things in new ways, to discover paths that no one else sees, to turn a struggle into a story of triumph. All it takes is a mind that expects answers, not defeat. Expectation is a magnet. It draws opportunities to you. It draws people, ideas, resources, and energy that you wouldn't find if your thoughts were focused on failure. Even when you don't have all the answers, start by having the right attitude. Say to yourself, I may not know how yet, but I believe I will. I am open. I am calm. I am expectant. Something good is on the way. This posture of hope is the soil in which solutions grow. And over time, as you maintain that mindset, the ideas will come. The path will open. The problem will begin to shrink, because positive thinking doesn't just make you feel better. It activates the divine power of creative answers that have been waiting to be discovered within you all along. When a problem arises, the first thing most people do is focus all their attention on it. They talk about how big it is, how difficult, how impossible it seems to fix. They replay it in their minds, turning it over and over like a stone in their hands, examining every sharp edge, every painful detail. The more they think about it, the larger it grows. Soon the problem begins to take over their thoughts, their energy, even their sleep. But this approach does not lead to solutions. It leads to discouragement and despair. The truth is, the more you magnify the problem, the smaller you begin to feel. But when you shift your focus, when you stop telling yourself how big the problem is and start reminding yourself how strong you are, how much power God has placed within you, something powerful begins to happen. The problem begins to shrink and your confidence begins to rise. It is a fact of life that whatever you focus on will grow in your mind. If you feed fear, it becomes stronger. If you feed faith, it becomes unstoppable. You must choose where your focus will go. You can't control every situation that comes your way, but you can always control what you magnify. You can choose to give your attention to what uplifts you or to what brings you down. When you focus on your God-given strength, on your faith, your resilience, your ability to learn, adapt, and grow, you activate something deep inside that begins to move you forward. You begin to speak differently. You start saying things like, "I can handle this. I will find a way. I've come through hard times before, and I'll come through this too." These words are not empty. They are powerful. They shape your reality. They stir your courage. Everyone faces problems, but not everyone responds the same way. Some people become overwhelmed because they only see the mountain in front of them. Others look at that mountain and say, "I may not climb it in one day, but I'll take one step at a time. I'll find a path. I have strength inside me I haven't even tapped yet." This mindset isn't about ignoring the difficulty. It's about deciding not to be ruled by it. It's about refusing to let your challenges define your identity. You are not your problem. You are not your struggle. You are a child of God, equipped with more strength than you know. When you shift your focus to your potential, you unlock ideas, opportunities, and inner power that had been blocked by fear. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, things that seemed confusing start to make sense. What felt impossible begins to feel manageable. You remember who you are. You remember that the same power that brought you through yesterday will guide you through today. You were not given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. That means you have the capacity to think clearly, to act boldly, and to walk steadily, even in the middle of a storm. So the next time a problem appears in your life, don't give in to the temptation to talk about how hard it is. Talk instead about how strong your faith is. Speak of your inner strength. Remind yourself that you are backed by divine power. Refuse to magnify the obstacle. Instead, magnify your courage, your persistence, your wisdom, and your God-given ability to rise above. Problems may come, but they don't have to stay in control. You have the strength within you to overcome, to adapt, and to grow stronger through it all. You are not weak. You are not alone. You are powerful. And when you focus on that truth, no problem can stand in your way. The words you speak hold incredible power. What you say not only reflects what you believe, but also shapes what you become. In times of personal struggle, when problems weigh heavily on your mind and emotions, the natural instinct is often to speak words of worry, fear, or frustration. But those kinds of words don't lift you. They push you deeper into doubt. They reinforce the idea that you're stuck, that you're overwhelmed, that you're not capable. But the moment you begin to change your language, the moment you choose to speak words of faith instead of fear, something starts to change. The atmosphere around you shifts. Your mind begins to clear. Your spirit starts to rise, because words are not just sounds. They are seeds, and when you speak them with conviction, you plant them deep into your own heart, saying something as simple as "I can handle this," or "I believe a way will be made." is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about calling out the strength and clarity that already exist within you. When you speak positively, you are not denying the reality of your problem. You are declaring your intention not to be defeated by it. Your words become a powerful form of alignment. They connect your thoughts, your faith, and your actions with the outcome you desire, not the struggle you fear. Most people don't realize how much damage they do by speaking constantly about how hard life is, how unfair things feel, how nothing ever works out. Every time you say those things, you are reinforcing your belief in your own defeat. But when you shift your speech to statements of hope, encouragement, and belief, you send a signal to your brain, your heart, and your entire being that you are ready to move forward. I have the wisdom I need. The answer is coming. I am stronger than I feel right now. God is working in my favor. These words aren't just affirmations. They are declarations of faith, and they create momentum. You may not feel strong at first. You may not feel hopeful or certain or calm. But speak the words anyway. Speak them until they become real to you. Speak them until your inner world aligns with the truth you're declaring. That is how transformation begins. Words have creative power. They can build, they can heal, and they can break chains of doubt and discouragement. The more you repeat words of faith, the more they become part of your thinking. The more they shape the choices you make. You don't have to know every step of the solution. You just need to keep speaking in the direction of victory. There will be moments when fear tries to speak louder, when the problem screams for your attention, when it feels easier to give in to complaints or hopeless talk. That is precisely the moment to speak with more faith. Lift your voice against the noise of worry. Say, I will get through this. Say, I am not alone. Say, the right ideas are coming to me. Your words are your weapon, your compass, your fuel. Use them with purpose. Even when nothing has changed on the outside, the words you speak can change everything on the inside. And once you change within, the world around you will begin to shift. You'll notice resources, support, insight, and strength showing up in ways you couldn't have imagined. So speak life into your situation. Speak strength into your heart. Speak clarity into your confusion. You have the power to talk your way into peace, into action, and ultimately into a solution. When facing a personal problem, it is easy to become stuck. You sit with the issue, turning it over in your mind, waiting for the perfect solution to fall into your lap. But often, the answer doesn't come while you're standing still. It comes when you move. It comes when you take a step forward, no matter how uncertain or small that step may be. There is a divine power in motion. Inspiration is not passive, it meets you on the path. It reveals itself as you walk. Many people wait for the entire staircase to be lit before they take the first step, but faith doesn't work that way. Faith moves first, and then the light begins to appear. You do not need to see the whole road to begin. You only need to believe that taking the first step will lead you somewhere better than where you are. There is something mysterious and powerful about inspired action. Sometimes, when you pray or meditate or simply pause in stillness, a small thought comes. A gentle nudge, an idea, a feeling. You don't always know where it leads, but something about it feels right. That's inspiration knocking. That's divine guidance tapping you on the shoulder. And the moment you act on it, even in the smallest way, the atmosphere begins to shift. You move from being stuck in thought to being active in possibility. You become a participant in your own breakthrough. Too often, people dismiss inspired thoughts because they seem too small or too ordinary. They want the big sign, the loud answer, the dramatic change. But God often speaks in whispers, not shouts. The answer may be in making one phone call, sending one message, trying one idea, or making one decision. And when you act on that small inspiration, it leads to the next one. It's like a trail of breadcrumbs, each piece leading you closer to the whole. Inspiration grows stronger as you honor it. The more you listen, the more you're guided. The more you act, the more the answers unfold. Action breeds clarity. The moment you step out in faith, your mind starts working differently. You stop feeling helpless and start feeling empowered. Even if you don't get everything right, you're learning, adjusting, growing. You're not waiting on the solution anymore. You're becoming part of it. And something powerful happens when you stop saying, "I don't know what to do," and start saying, "I'm going to take one step and trust the rest will follow." You open the door to miracles. You position yourself to receive the next idea, the next person, the next opportunity that leads you to resolution. There is no perfect moment to begin. There is only now. Right now is the time to act on that quiet idea that's been resting in your heart. Right now is the time to move in the direction of your healing, your peace, your purpose. It doesn't have to be big. It only needs to be faithful. God blesses effort. God honors movement. What you do in faith may seem small in the beginning, but it sets a chain reaction in motion that can shift everything. So don't wait until you have all the answers. Don't wait until the fear is gone. Don't wait until it's easy. Move forward now with what you have, where you are, believing that what you need will be provided along the way. Trust that the steps you take in faith will be met with grace, with strength, and with divine ideas you couldn't see until you began. Solutions are not found in sitting still. They are found in motion. Step forward and let inspiration guide the way. There comes a moment when you realize that no amount of worry can change the situation you're facing. You've thought about it from every angle, replayed it in your mind, tried to predict every possible outcome, yet nothing changes except your growing sense of exhaustion. Worry has a way of wearing you down while pretending to help. It tells you that you're doing something by obsessing, but in reality it keeps you stuck. It steals your peace, clouds your judgment, and burdens your heart. But peace comes the moment you decide to surrender, not in defeat, but in trust. Trust that what is beyond your control is not beyond God's control. That where your ability ends, His power begins. You let go not because you're giving up, but because you're finally giving it to the one who can handle what you can't. Letting go of anxiety doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you stop trying to carry the full weight of the problem on your own. It means you stop grasping for control over every outcome and begin to rest in the knowledge that you are not alone in this battle. God sees what you cannot. He works in ways that are higher than your ways and beyond what your human understanding can grasp. When you release your grip and place your trust in Him, you make space for His wisdom, His timing, and His love to move through your life. There is a peace that comes when you truly let go, when you stop striving, stop panicking, and simply say, "God, I give this to you." That's when something begins to shift in your heart. Your breathing slows, your thoughts clear. You feel a calm rising within you that wasn't there before. You may still have questions, and the situation may still be unresolved, but your spirit is steady because you've placed it in hands far greater than yours. That is not weakness. That is the deepest kind of strength, the strength to surrender, to release, and to believe that even in silence, God is at work. So many people hold on tightly to their fears, believing that worry is a sign of responsibility. But worry doesn't solve problems. It only magnifies them. Faith, on the other hand, reduces them to their proper size. Faith says, "This looks big to me, but it's not too big for God." Faith doesn't require full understanding. It only requires full trust. And that trust grows when you choose to practice it every day. When you get up in the morning and say, "I don't know how this will work out, but I know I'm not facing it alone." That declaration becomes your anchor. It keeps you grounded when your emotions try to take over. There is no shame in reaching the end of your own strength. In fact, that is often where miracles begin. Because when you come to the end of yourself, you find the beginning of God's grace. His hands are steady, His ways are perfect, His love is unshakable, and He is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet see. Your job is not to figure out every detail. Your job is to do what you can, release what you can't, and walk forward with peace in your heart. Letting go is not an act of resignation. It's an act of faith. It is saying, "I've done all I can do, and now I trust God to do what only He can do." That kind of faith creates room for miracles. It invites healing, it attracts wisdom, and it brings the strength you need to keep going. So release the worry, trust in His timing, let go, and let God work. He has never failed before, and He won't start now. Every problem you face in life carries with it the seed of something greater. It may not feel that way in the moment. When the storm hits, when the pressure rises, when you're weighed down by challenges, it can feel like life is punishing you. But problems are not punishments. They are invitations. They are signals that something in you is ready to grow, to evolve, to rise to a new level of strength and awareness. The struggle you are in today may very well be preparing you for blessings you couldn't handle before. The pain, the discomfort, the questions, they are shaping you, not breaking you. Growth rarely happens in comfort. We want it to be smooth, easy, predictable. But the truth is that growth is often forged in the fire. It's in the tension, in the unknown, in the difficult moments where your character is developed. It's in the waiting, in the wrestling, in the times when you feel like giving up but choose to keep going anyway. These are the places where you discover what you're made of. You realize that you're stronger than you thought, that your faith is deeper than you imagined, and that your potential goes far beyond what your past ever tried to define. When you begin to see your problems as portals, not dead ends, you transform your entire relationship with life. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" You move from being a victim of your circumstances to being a student of your journey. That one change in perspective opens the door to wisdom. It shifts your focus from the pain of the moment to the purpose hidden within it. And that's when growth takes root. Not because the problem disappears, but because you choose to rise within it. Every person who has ever achieved something great, every person who has walked in peace and purpose, has faced moments when they had to decide to grow instead of give up. They had to find meaning in the midst of difficulty. They had to dig deep, hold on, and trust that the trial was not the end, but the beginning of something new, and that is true for you. The problem you're facing right now may seem like a burden, but it could be the very path that leads you to strength, to compassion, to wisdom you never would have gained any other way. Sometimes growth means letting go. Sometimes it means learning how to love more deeply, forgive more freely, or believe more boldly. And sometimes growth means simply staying steady when everything in you wants to run. The process isn't always visible. It doesn't always feel productive, but deep down your spirit is expanding, your capacity is increasing, your roots are growing deeper, preparing you to stand taller in the future. You won't always see the purpose right away. Some lessons only become clear in hindsight, but faith tells us that nothing is wasted, that even the broken pieces can be made into something beautiful, that even your lowest moments can serve a higher purpose. And one day you'll look back and see that what once felt like an obstacle was actually a doorway to a better version of yourself. So hold on, keep moving, keep believing. This problem is not here to destroy you. It is here to reveal the power that already lives inside of you. Step through the challenge not with fear but with expectation, because this is not the end. This is the threshold of your next level. You are being prepared, refined, and elevated. Every problem is a portal, and what lies beyond it is growth, peace, and purpose beyond anything you've known before. There will be moments in life when everything in you wants to give up. The weight you're carrying feels too heavy. The road ahead looks too long. You've tried, you've prayed, you've worked, and nothing seems to be changing. It's in these moments that the voice of discouragement grows the loudest. It tells you that your effort isn't worth it, that things will never get better, that you might as well stop now. But I want to tell you something vital. Do not quit. You may be far closer to the breakthrough than you realize. The victory you've been praying for could be just one more step away. Often, it is just before the light breaks through that the night feels darkest. Just before the answer appears, the silence feels most deafening. That is not the time to turn back. That is the time to push forward with every ounce of faith you have left. So many people quit when the answer is right around the corner. They walk away from a dream just before it comes to life. They stop praying just before the peace begins to fill their heart. They give up on healing, on relationships, on purpose, because they don't see the results yet. But real change is often hidden at first. Like seeds planted deep in the earth, you don't see the roots forming, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Something is growing beneath the surface, and your persistence is what waters it. Your refusal to quit is what gives it strength to break through. It's easy to be motivated at the beginning, when hope is fresh and the goal feels exciting. But the true test of faith is found in the middle, when progress is slow, when doubts creep in, when you're tired and the finish line still seems far away. That's where character is forged. That's where spiritual strength is built. And that's where you have to remind yourself of why you started in the first place. You didn't come this far to stop now. You've already made it through so much. What makes you think you can't go a little further? Sometimes all it takes is one more prayer, one more moment of stillness, one more act of kindness, one more decision to believe. That's all it takes to open the door to the miracle you've been waiting for. You don't have to take a giant leap. You just need to take the next step, and then the next. Faith grows stronger not in leaps, but in steady movement forward. Even if it's slow, even if it feels uncertain, moving forward is powerful. It's an act of defiance against the doubt. It's a declaration that says, I will not be defeated by this moment. You never know who is watching your perseverance. Your persistence could be the very encouragement someone else needs. You never know how your story, your endurance, your courage in the middle of hardship could inspire someone else to keep going. Your journey matters more than you know, and your breakthrough is not just for you. It could be the beginning of hope for someone else. So if you're feeling worn out, if you're tempted to walk away, take a breath. Rest if you need to, but don't stop. Reconnect with your purpose. Remind yourself that what you're walking through now is not the end. It's a process, and at the end of this process is something worth every step, every tear, every moment of faith. Victory is near. The answer is closer than you think. Keep going, because quitting now would mean missing the reward that's waiting just around the bend. Walk boldly into your future, knowing that with God beside you and faith within you, asterisk, no problem is too great, no dream too distant, and no defeat final asterisk, because you were born to rise, to conquer, and to triumph.